Their aura is unequal.
Well, let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. Or whatever. And they told me to make it a little more raspy, and I follow directions.
Their contents are legendary.
In fact, that little sheet you see is his concept drawing.
Their attitude is embraced. Tune in to one of the most up and rising kaiju-sized groups within our community. So go ahead and watch all of their creative content, including that of the Raw Attitude live interview, where they have special guests ranging from actors, directors, toy creators, artists, and many, many more. You can also find them on multiple of other social media platforms, ranging from Instagram, TikTok, X, Facebook. You could even sit back and watch your favorite classic monster movie and even watch us go through one of the most iconic games on Twitch. Featuring your hosts, Eric Stowe, Adrian Settle, Joe Myers, Samson West, Jordan Adorno. They are the Monsters with Attitude.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Oh no, we have the wrong background here. We always forget that, at least I do.
Way to go, Eric.
I know,
Once
right?
again,
Trying to make this professional, and I dropped the ball again.
What did I say when we had Barry on last week? It cannot be an MWA stream without some kind of technical difficulty or Eric forgetting to change the background.
That is true, and that is a understatement, honestly, because there's too many things to think of. But it is coming up. But yeah, we are here for another Raw Attitude, and we are doing the G-Fest 30 2025 vendor spotlight. And this is kind of a different vendor spotlight. They're not particularly in the vendor room selling, but they are responsible for bringing amazing guests to the yearly convention that has just been absolutely amazing, been doing it for many, many years. And I felt like we really need to put a spotlight on this particular person and company, because they just supply these amazing guests that we are all just in awe about every single year. So it's just going to be a lot of fun to get to know him and talk about the company. But yeah, Joe, I am completely off because I haven't done one of these in quite a while, actually. So
I'm usually the one hosting. Yeah, I'm usually the one hosting. I'm sitting back letting you flounder a bit. No, it's going to be fun. One of the things about special guests when it comes to conventions is it's something that you and I have began to appreciate a lot more in our older years. Not that we're very old, or you are, but I'm not. And we did as a kid, it was all about the toys. Now that we're getting older, we're so interested in the men and women behind the suits or behind the cameras, or that did the creature designs, or the actors, actresses, the composers. And this gentleman that we're about to bring on is responsible for helping bring so many of these childhood icons and heroes of ours to these conventions where we get to meet them. And I'm really excited to talk to him and pick his brain. So without further ado, Eric, I say we bring on the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Tim Bean. How are you?
Speaking of old.
I knew you were going to say that. That's funny. That's funny. Tim, thanks for joining us.
How are you? Us, man. Yeah.
No problem. It's fine.
Awesome.
Go ahead, Eric. I didn't mean to step on your toes.
Yeah, no worries. We kind of do a little typical spiel here for first guests that come on for us. We like to know a little bit of background of said person. And of course, we are very focused on kaiju, tokusatsu kind of thing. We branch off into other of our likes, as in like anime and wrestling and all sorts of different things. But I know you're a big Godzilla fan. Obviously, you've been going to G-Fest for quite a while. So, first question is, how did you get into being a Godzilla fan? How were you introduced, and what kind of drew you to it?
Oh, that would be my mother's fault. I have two older brothers, 6 and 7 years older than I am. And my mother loved the cheesiness of Japanese movies and such. So my brothers, she and I would all sit around and basically do MST 3000 long before there was MST 3000.
Okay.
Just not as well because we're not as clever. But we enjoyed just having a good time with the movies. And that went on for most of my childhood. I mean, I'm asked, like, what's your first movie? I'm like, I don't remember. I just always remember it being around.
That's what I was going to ask, if you remembered your first one. Do you have a favorite Godzilla film or genre, or not genre, excuse me, era of Godzilla films?
Well, I think everybody's favorite is what they grew up with. So I'm old enough to be Showa. So
Okay.
Is there one that kind of sticks out the most out of the Showa era? Like, there's one that just kind of draws you and you kind of watch it kind of more than the others?
Well, the original, probably either the Mechagodzilla ones, Destroy All Monsters. That was always,
Mm-hmm.
That's two guests in a row that said the original 54. And I'm a huge proponent for the 54. I can't say that it's my favorite, Tim, but I really appreciate it, and I don't feel like it gets the respect anymore that it maybe deserves. And maybe because it's been so long and there's been so many other films that a lot of people have been introduced to Godzilla in some way, shape, or form that's drastically different than all of us did, right? I mean, whether it's Singular Point or the Monsterverse or 98 or whatever, there's just been so many different opportunities. So I just find it interesting that you and Barry both said the 54, and I'm happy to hear that, because I'm sad that I worry sometimes that maybe the impact of the first one is forgotten.
Yeah. Well, it's overshadowed, especially people in my age group, who saw the Americanized version. I mean, I didn't see the Japanese version until 15 years ago or so, and it's just the Japanese version is just a devastating movie.
Yes.
Is that kind of what drew you to it? Is like the heartbreak of it, or the seriousness? Like, do you like this more serious movies or like the goofy ones?
I like the goofy ones for the goofiness, and I do like I mean, in the Monsterverse, the latest one, New Empire, it's just silly fun.
Yes. Yes, that's exactly what I was going to bring up. We are really living in a great time to be a Godzilla or Toku fan. I guess you can't really call the Monsterverse Toku, but a Godzilla fan, because you are kind of getting the best of both worlds. The Monsterverse does seem to be that, old school campy Showa fun, where Japan seems to be taking it more serious with Shin Godzilla and specifically -1. So you're really kind of getting, if you like that crazy, wonky, campy, there's something for you. And if you like that real serious tonal film, you have -1 too. So
I with Shin, I'm not sure. I don't see Shin as being. It's such a satire.
Yes, it is.
I'm not sure I can consider that a serious film, because it is hilarious. It is absolutely hilarious.
Yes, it is. I guess I just meant it more in the sense of like Godzilla's not doing
it's
like
really dark humor, which I love dark humor.
Sure. Yes. No, I understand. It definitely is. It definitely is satire. What do you think of Monsterverse versus -1? There seems to be a lot of debate in the fandom over the past year or so. Can you like them both? Do you like them both? Or
I do like them both. you know, it's like you can't. It's not like comparing apples and oranges. I mean, they're just completely different creatures. I mean, minus one is completely serious, very dark, and very heavy, very emotional. You know, the MonsterVerse, other than Kaylee, not a lot of emotion there.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, mindless action.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
It's funny. My younger nephews, nieces love the MonsterVerse, but some of my friends that are my age love -1, and the ones that watched -1 liked it so much they actually went and got into the MonsterVerse. So I'm here for it. I don't like the fans that say, "Oh, don't go watch the MonsterVerse," or "Don't go watch this one," or "Don't go." Godzilla should be for everybody, and I really, really, truly believe that he is. And I think that there is always going to be something there for somebody to enjoy. And I hate this. I don't know, this tribalism, I guess, for lack of a better word. I don't know. What do you think about all that, Tim?
I mean, to my attitude is give it a try. If you don't like it, it's not your cup of tea. Fine, you know.
Yeah.
Don't watch it again.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, you don't let other people tell you what's good and what's bad. Go make your informed decision. You know, everybody has different tastes. Everybody likes different things. You know.
Yeah.
You actually had a little hand to play in the MonsterVerse. Can you talk to us about the petition that you got going with Akira Takarada, and how'd you come up with that? What fueled it, and kind of take us through that whole process?
Well, it started in 2010 when he appeaed at G-Fest. And at that point in time, I was just volunteering, so I had a lot more time on my hands. So I tended to go around with my video camera and film the various things going on. So I was sitting on the side of the room at the opening ceremonies filming, and he was up on there, and he was saying in that point in time that he would like a cameo. And that happened to be right about the same time as they did the petition to get Betty White to host Saturday Night Live.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so it's possible. I know nothing about social media or know no one in Hollywood. So, you know, I don't know what to do, but, you know, what the hell? Let's just go for it. So I literally threw stuff at the wall and, you know, see if anything stuck. And it was really just my mother and father's DNA that it's tenacious and will not give up. I mean, when we went to G Tour 2, I told Akira Takarada that I would not stop. I would not give up, and, you know, and I am a man of my word. I just kept going. And at one point I felt like I had exhausted Facebook. So I went on Twitter and I came across Max Bornstein, the screenwriter. And, you know, these guys, both Edwards and Bornstein, were nobodies before this.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think Bornstein had like 13 followers when I first found him.
Wow.
So I you know, liked him or whatever you do on Twitter. I can't remember anymore. And he responded. And so we could message each other back. So I messaged him again. You know, not everybody on Twitter is who they say they are. So I just kind of threw out a vague, "So how's the movie going?" And he wrote back, "Really good. We're trying to do the big guy proud." And I thought, okay, I think I got the right guy.
Okay. Yep.
We just chatted back and forth for quite some time. You know, I told him about Takarada and wanting the cameo, and he, you know, and then, what it would have been, G Tour was 2011, so 2012 G Fest. I was doing, again, still volunteering. I was doing security Friday night at the dealer's room door, and, you know, San Diego Comic-Con was going on that same weekend, and that's where they were. And so I'm sitting there, and suddenly my phone goes off. I look down, it's Max, and he's like, "Hi, I'm in the car right now with Gareth Edwards, and we're going to San Diego Comic Con." And Gareth says hi. I'm just like, tell him. And she wrote back, "Yeah, he knows. He thinks it's a great idea, but it's, now's not the right time for it. But when it comes time, yeah." And I'm like, okay. And I ran over and told Ruth and Peyton, and they were to me like, "What the hell are you talking about?" They aren't fans. They don't know.
Yeah.
I had to tell someone, and they were the only ones close. So, like so much of my life, I tell somebody something I'm really excited about, and they look at me like, "Are you from another planet?"
Don't we know it?
Yes. So, I'm used to it. It's fine. But, so, I don't know. One night that weekend, we went out we were having a G Tour reunion, and we went to Giordano's with Afria and Takarada, and Robert Scott was there, so I had him. I showed him, had him translate it all to him, and he was like, "How do you know this person?" I'm just like, "Oh boy, is that a long story." Because at this stage, it'd been like 2.5 years that I've just been relentlessly trying to make something happen. So yeah, when it came time, they found him, and it was the first scene they filmed. They brought him over to Vancouver, and it was the first scene they filmed of the movie. And for a while, I was a god among fans. And then they cut the movie, and I wasn't. They cut the scene out.
Yeah, but that wasn't your fault, though.
No, I know.
What is the? Oh, sorry. No, please go ahead.
But when essentially he was appearing in Dallas the week of the movie opened in America, and his then agent wrote on the Facebook page that I had, that he was appearing in Dallas, and I went, "Oh wow, he can go see himself on the screen," because at this point the thing wasn't cut. And the agent went back, "Well, you could come to Dallas and you could watch him watch himself on the screen." And I went, I'm a naturally cheap person. That's a lot of money. Then, after some thought, when is this opportunity going to come my way again? And so I went, okay, I went. And so, and then in between that time, the scene got cut. And I wrote his agent, and I said, "So should I not come now?" And he was like, "No, come on. We'll hang out. We'll have fun. It'll be fun." And we did go see the movie. I have the picture of us in the theater with my tickets autographed by him over there. Then we sat around and did a lot of explaining of the movie, since their English is okay, but it wasn't. They were missing stuff, so we were filling in the blanks. And then the next day at the convention, I wasn't told to do anything, but by that time I'd been doing G-Fest autographs for 4 years, so I just kind of went, "Oh, they need help here," and I just went in and jumped in and started helping. And by the end of the weekend, they were like, in a couple weeks, Nakajima and Takarada are at Spooky Empire in Florida. Why don't you come to that? And the rest is history.
The rest is history. What is the story behind them cutting the? Yeah, for those that might not know, what is the story of them cutting his cameo?
From what I understand, they tested it, the test audience decided it was too long, and they thought, let's cut this 7.5 second clip, and that'll fix everything.
Jeez.
It's really, I really like 2014, but I do agree with the complaints that are out there about it, of it running a little long before you see Godzilla, and the constant cutaways weren't for me. Overall, I did enjoy the film. I thought it set up the world very well. It makes no effing sense that you're going to cut a 7-second cameo of the original actor I'm sorry. Like I feel like there was other things they could have cut.
My summing up, my view of it, because when they came about this, the script was written. There was no scene, so basically these two very inexperienced people who had not a lot of experience with the giant Hollywood complex wrote a throwaway scene, and then we're surprised they got thrown away.
Gotcha. I think their test audience was the wrong audience, honestly. I mean, if you would have given it to any other Godzilla fan that remotely knows anything about the franchise, I mean, they all would have voted for that thing to stay in there and just like, yep, that needs to be in there. You know,
I mean, I've read Gareth Edwards' letters to Takarada, and he obviously you felt sorry for him by the time you finished reading the letter. He was obviously crushed by the experience. So yeah, I just chalk it up to an experience. They did,
Yeah.
Are you still in contact with Bornstein or Edwards to this day, or was it just during that time?
Well, you see, when they initially cut the cameo, and JD came to me and proposed the idea of once again doing some sort of fan grassroots thing to try to get them to put it back. Bornstein pretty much pleaded with me not to, and I'm just like, well, the reality is, for all the people who are saying that, this was just entitled fans whining, and Takarada is a big boy, and he can handle it. This was the request of Takarada. So it's Max. Where do my loyalties lie? You or him?
Right.
Sorry, you lose.
Right. Well, especially too. I mean, let's be honest. Max doesn't know you. You don't have a relationship with Max like you do with Takarada. I mean, Max wouldn't think twice about never calling or talking to you again. Never doing you a favor or anything of that nature. And Takarada's seems like a pure gentleman, and the 24 times that I've met him.
Yeah.
So
you
put a strain on the relationship, and it pretty much dissipated. It just went away from there. So no, I have not been in contact with him since.
No, hey, I don't blame you. It's unfortunate. I'm sorry, Eric. Go ahead. You were gonna.
No. I would just say, I'm gonna compliment and just basically just say, you stood by your friend, the one that you knew more, and that's what you had to do. You had to be a man of your word, as you've phrased before, and just kind of stick with that person because you don't know the other person. And I'm glad that you did. I'm glad that you stuck with Takarada and kind of really tried to help him kind of fulfill one of his dreams. Honestly, the way that it sounds is that he really wanted to be into a big Hollywood blockbuster movie, and I think they should have thought about that a little bit more. But like you said, chalk it up to an experience. I think to in some aspect. So
yeah, and when Chris finally revealed the release of the cameo, he had talked to me earlier, and there's an interview in the article that he did with me, and I thought this was a 10th anniversary story, and I was going to be a footnote in the story. I did not know that the whole story was the cameo. Until it was released and the cameo was there. He said nothing to me, so I was as surprised as everybody else.
Gotcha.
What did Takarada think of 2014?
Okay, this is the evolution of what he felt. he was asked, after his scene was cut, he was asked to come to the American premiere. He said no.
Good for him.
He was asked, since Edwards is British, to come to the British premiere. He said no. Then he got the letter from Gareth Edwards, and one of the three things Edwards promised him was a bigger part in the second movie. And then he went, "Oh, okay, let's play nice. This movie's great." When Edwards came to Japan, he met up with him. They did photo ops together. He's smooth.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know that he was promised a role, and I'm assuming that didn't happen because they replaced Edwards.
Yes. He was promised three things. He was promised that his name would be in the credits, which is the only thing that was delivered on. He was promised that his part would be on the home video release, which I thought, okay, you just saw how the studio system treats you. I can chalk up the first one to being naive, but why are you promising something you obviously have no control over? That's where I fault Edwards. Then the third thing was, that he get a bigger part, because we spent that opening weekend that we were in Dallas. We spent the entire weekend continuously updating Takarada on what the box office was doing, because he was very interested in it being successful and there being a second movie, so he could be in it.
Wow. Yeah, I don't blame him. Yeah, that's interesting. I never knew he was promised. And it's a shame. I like the MonsterVerse as it is now. I'd be lying though if I said I wouldn't. I'm very, very curious as to what Edwards' original plan was. And I would have loved to have seen Takarada or some other familiar faces too, to add to that cameo line, if you will.
Yeah.
Well, now we kind of are trying for Linda Miller in the next movie, so we'll see.
That would be amazing.
And Supernova, you mean, or the one after that?
Supernova.
Interesting. I did not know that. Anything we can do to help, Tim, to spread that?
I think honestly, we've done the inside track as best we can.
Okay.
It's really up to Grant, the director at this stage, because Grant's movie that's on Netflix, Mother, which is a really creepy movie, but I like it. I recommend it. If you really want to spend most of the time going, I'm not sure who's the good and bad guy here. Luke Hawker, who was Suko, did the motion capture for Mother. So Luke and Grant know each other pretty well. And when Grant was picked for this, he immediately reached out to Luke, talked about Kong. Luke said, well, Alan's right here in New Zealand. And he went, oh, okay. And so they've talked, and Alan said to him, it would be a really easy thing to do to put Linda in here.
Yeah.
So the director is aware.
That's one thing that's kind of surprised me with the MonsterVerse. There's hasn't been any cameos except for obviously the deleted Takarada scene. But I mean, look at Marvel. They made those little Stan Lee cameos famous. Like Takarada could have been the the Godzilla version or the Japanese version of Stan Lee. Had him show up in a different part or a different little gag or serious or whatever. Given some hope to the hero or a laugh when needed. It's a shame. I feel like that's a really big dropped ball. I really do.
So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed.
I don't think there's anything else that can be done.
Yeah. Well, if you ever need help spreading the word on socials or podcasts or whatever, just hit Eric or I up, and we'll plug it every show we do.
Because I've also tried. I said, Alan, if Grant wants to do conventions, woohoo! But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Grant's a little busy right now, so
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, so okay. Speaking of conventions, Eric, if you don't mind, I'm gonna in here and transition. You kind of told the story of meeting or going to meet Takarada in Houston, did you say, or Dallas?
yeah.
And that kind of spiraled like, oh, well, then come on down to Florida and you can help us. Is that kind of what started Japan Legends? Is this the beginning?
Yes, I basically worked for their agent and his Japanese partner for about 3.5 years. And then essentially I was approached by Takarada saying, there's a number of us that aren't happy. We want you to be our agent now. And I went, okay. You say no to Takarada. Just do it. Yeah.
Right. That's funny.
Yeah, I laugh, but I understand. Like, yeah, what are you supposed to say? No, like what? Like you have to. Like, so did you have any experience in that field in any way?
I had experience in helping to run the autograph sessions, and I worked very closely with the Japanese, and obviously they had come to trust me over the years, and liked me, and but no, as far as the knowing the convention owners and working, no, that was a learn on the job thing.
Okay.
Wow. How do you go about I'm sorry, Eric. How do you go about learning that? Like who to contact, how to book? Like that's got to be a baptism by fire of like.
Yeah.
I mean, do you just call the conventions and say, "Hey, I have client A, B, and C. Would you like to hire them?"
It's a lot of emails. It's a lot of emails. A lot of cold emails. Just hi. This is me. This is who I've got. I've got a website. You can go check out everybody. Nobody ever does. But it's just, and some of them are interested and some of them aren't. And you just keep, again, this is where the relentlessness comes in. You just,
yeah,
true.
Well, true. I mean, it's obviously worked because you actually stepped away from your responsibilities with G-Fest and started doing this full time, correct?
Yes. It was being viewed by some convention owners that being involved with G-Fest was a conflict of interest, that I would not represent them as well as I would represent G-Fest. Okay. And so it's like, okay, well, honestly, G-Fest is costing me money now. So I had to step away.
Gotcha.
No conflict, no politics, just, economics.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was it hard? Was it hard in any way to step away?
In some ways, no, because, like I said to everybody, I'll basically be there. I'll be doing the same thing. I just won't be staff.
Yeah.
I'm just now going to be as in the dark as the rest of you is what's going on, because they don't talk to me about it because I'm not staff.
Yeah. How did you, totally jumping back real quick, how did you get involved with G-Fest?
It's basically, I started out volunteering and I had a science down to it. I always did, 6 hours, you got t-shirt and you got in the dealer's room half an hour early. 2 hours on Thursday night. The first 2 hours of registration, I had 2 hours for the rest of the weekend, and then I'd get my t-shirt and I'd get in. That was the science of volunteering, but having the most of the weekend you can possibly have.
Yeah.
But as time went on, and I showed myself to be a good volunteer and a good worker, then it was like, okay, we need help. Can you do this? Can you someone pulled out. Can you go run this? Can you go run that? And I just finally, it's just like, Ruth, what do you need? Just what do you need? Tell me what. And then there was the year Peyton was ill and Ruth couldn't come. And they contacted me and said, well, JG's basically said, Ruth's not going to be able to come. Can you do the volunteers this year? And I said, okay. And so I managed the volunteers for the year. And the next year, Ruth, for like the first time I saw Ruth at the convention, she's like, I hear you want to do this all the time. And I'm like, oh, and she's like, yeah, congratulations, it's yours. So I don't know. That's what that's Civil War promotion. Everybody had you dead.
Everybody ahead of you dead. Congratulations. You're promoted. Until you die or I find somebody better.
Yeah.
Yeah, that went on until basically they decided they needed a guest liaison. And so they gave the volunteers to Peyton, and I took over taking care of the guests.
Okay.
Awesome. So then, fast forwarding back to where we were, so Takarada approached you, wanted to, and a group of people wanted to have you as their agent because they weren't happy with their talent agency or how they were being handled. Do a lot of cold calls. And in the meantime, were you looking to pick up more? Who besides Takarada did you have exactly at this time?
Oh, I probably had about a half a dozen. I mean, Satsuma, Freya, Sakurai, Higuchi, Kaida. There were a few others. But yeah, no, it was just basically there was about 10, 12 of them that just weren't happy and they wanted me to do it. So okay.
And what started you, for lack of a better word, collecting more talent? Because as of recently, I saw that you I don't know what the word is, acquired or
acquired.
Acquired them. A bunch of like Power Ranger actors, which I'm a huge Power Ranger fan. When I saw that, I wanted to come and give you a big hug because that made me very excited. That was really cool.
I had a friend who who had been doing it for a few years and decided he didn't want to do it anymore. And I'm like, so what are you going to do with your clients? He said, well, I don't know. If you want them, when we worked out a deal.
So you weren't kidding. You legitimately do have to acquire them. That was. Oh, okay. I don't know how any of this works. So
when it comes like most of my clients, all I ask is that you give me something in writing that says I'm allowed to represent you.
Pretty laid back.
I did that initially because I knew the other agent was not going to be happy and that he might try to block things. So I wanted to have something to go to the conventioner and say, hey, look, see, I have written permission.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's smart.
I love that.
That's smart.
Well, if I don't know what strings you have left to pull at G-Fest, but if you could bring Hunter Dino to G-Fest, I would forever love you, Tim, because I was a big fan of her and her season. So that would be really cool. Just saying, just throwing it out there.
That's up to Peyton mostly. Trust me. I even with JD, I've thrown a lot of. I mean, Cheetah. I've been shopping that name for a few years, and
I'm sorry, what name? I missed.
That's
Cheetah, the Gamera kit.
Yeah, you cheated. Yeah, that is so crazy to me how they wouldn't want a Showa performer to come, because I mean, as you all know, our Showa performers are dwindling by the day, unfortunately. And it's just like, why? That's one of the things that me and Joe talk about all the time is like, why don't we get more of these, whoever's left, these Showa performers over here, if they want to do it, get them exposed to the experience. They might want to come back, maybe get a good taste in their mouth per se. But we as fans want to see that more. And sometimes I think that the people in charge aren't listening to the fans per se, and they're just kind of going through the motions sometimes.
I can't say hasn't been multiple occasions where I've scratched my head and thought, well, what are they thinking? Not G-Fest, convention owners in general.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm also curious, how do they determine who they want? Or like, is there just like a set, like we only want like 4 and we're going to, contact you, or, hey, we only want a couple? Like, how does that work out?
I mean, a lot of times you pitch a certain number of guests.
Okay.
And then, they decide who they want. And sometimes they, want completely different people. And, sometimes you have to hunt people down. My running joke is, I've stalked more Japanese actresses and probably have been rejected by more Japanese actresses than I've been rejected by actual women in my entire life.
Oh, that's funny.
Put that on the resume. Oh my goodness.
Because culturally, the Japanese actresses, especially the older ones, tend to want to be remembered the way they looked. They think fans want to see them the way they look now. Hi, Freya.
Okay. That brings me to this question. Okay. Maybe because you've talked with Takarada. I'm sure he was good friends with her. But Kumi Mizuno, is that a reason why she won't come over here? Is it just she just has no drive or inspiration to actually come over here and actually go to conventions?
There is a reason I should not go into in public.
Okay, that completely fine. It's just she's probably the number one person I think everybody would just die for. And
trust me, Takarada hounded her. But even he, with his charm, could not sway her.
Wow.
Is it just like a convention thing, or never mind? I don't even care. I don't want to tip the toe in any negative or controversy or whatever. So talk to us about some of the guests that you have coming this year to G-Fest.
We have Freya, Ultraman, and we have Cheetah, Kenny or Toshiro from Gamera. This is his first American appearance.
Yes.
Wow, that's cool.
That's super amazing.
And it's those of us who've been going to G-Fest long enough remember, the times. I feel like the Japanese actors are fairly savvy now as to what the experience is going to be. But those early years when they were just totally flabbergasted by the adoration and drooling fandom that we Americans are, and they were overwhelmed by it. I mean, one of my favorite observations is I've watched lots of macho Japanese men get the skyscraper award and bawl like babies.
Really?
But I also watched Hiroko Sakurai get it and not shed a tear. She is one tough woman. You won't mess with her. You will regret ever messing with her.
I love that. So awesome. We have a few people that chime in regularly, and this is actually going to be their first G-Fest. And I know that autographs is something that they're going to be looking into. Can you explain that process? And will you guys have, Eric and I are familiar with this, but obviously we want to have it explained for the people that maybe aren't. Will you guys be selling memorabilia for them to sign? Should people bring it? What kind of things will you guys have that will be included in the price for autographs?
Well, basically, the way it works is your price, which for Freya would be $45, and for Cheeto would be $40. That just covers everything.
Okay.
If you don't have anything of your own design, I have several 8x10s to choose from. Freya, despite the fact that I keep telling him not to, always brings more pictures. So, so there's if you have nothing of your own design, that's included. You just grab one you want signed, and you go take it and get it signed. Your picture with him is also included. That's all, And I have, I think about 6 different photographs for Cheetah to choose from, and the rest I'm not in charge of, so I really don't know what they're doing.
So to answer some of their questions, Tim will not be selling. Well, you might have maybe a couple posters or figures, things like that, but it's not like
I will be selling stuff.
But it's not like you're going to have hundreds of each. So
No.
if you are looking for something special or specific that you're wanting signed, make sure you purchase it beforehand, because there's no guarantee that Tim
what
will
I'm
have.
saying is bringing his new T-shirt to sell.
Okay.
And that's the T-shirt is a print of one of his original Ultraman drawings, which is to the other thing he's bringing. He's now doing original art. So
Really?
he have original art there that he will be selling, and
That's very cool. That's very cool. Go ahead, Eric.
I was just gonna compliment. So we've gone to other conventions. We see other deals and whatever the price points, and I will say I love yours the most because it is affordable and everything is included, and you're not trying to just grab as much money out of these people as you can, because I think that's kind of ridiculous, and I think they overdo it. Because when you pay for a autograph, I think it should be, anything that they want, it should just be across the board. This is what you're paying for. There's no upcharge or nothing. I was very surprised with AMA actually recently, and I'm sure they all pick their own price points. It's not the convention themselves and whatever. No. But I was surprised that they have upcharges for certain things to sign, and I was like, holy cow! Like this, I had never experienced that, because all of my autographs have always been with G-Fest. Always. I mean, like I stated when we first started this interview, it's what you have brought to G-Fest has been amazing for guest-wise, and it's just all these people that I've always wanted to meet, and it's just absolutely been amazing, and the prices are just phenomenal. So I just have to compliment you on having that set across the board for the pictures included, bring anything to be signed. I love that. So,
well, I'm trying my best to keep the Japanese that way. My Western clients, no, they've been to conventions and seen how everybody else is doing it, and they get the menu. I hate the menu, but it's what they want. It's what they get. Because if everything's in one, I just have one ticket to keep track of. I know how much that ticket is, and at the end of the day, I've sold 70 of these times. This is what But when this is an autograph, this is an autograph and photo, this is a photo, this is if they talk on your phone, this is I'm just like, man, you just made my bookkeeping so much harder. But I understand. It's they too want to make as much money as they can. So that, and again, when the Western clients go and see everybody else, all the other Western actors doing it, of course they're going to do it. I mean, it's a fairly common practice. that some agents will not give the convention a price ahead of time, because what they'll do is they'll go to the convention, they'll take a walk around and see what everybody else is charging, and then they'll go back to the table and say, "This is what we're charging."
Yeah, absolutely.
It's all about the almighty dollar, which I understand. I mean, I got, it is a business, and there's probably a lot of overhead with travel and stuff. So I understand. It's just sometimes it just seems like it's really excessive. Like, to have a selfie with somebody and it's an additional $100. I'm like, get over yourself. Like, I don't care that much. Like, I think you're really cool, but I'm not going to give you $100 to take a picture with you.
Yeah. But
I'm assuming your books have been. I'm assuming your books have been just kind of more crazy with that intake of all of those new clients that you just got recently.
Well, I got to get booked into a convention for it.
Okay. So you haven't had them booked. Okay. Oh boy. The rest of the year looks busy.
I'm hoping.
Well, send them in the Midwest area, and Eric and I would definitely, preferably Chicago, because that's where I'm from. I'll make Eric drive. But if Midwest area, Tim, and you can pretty much guarantee I'd be there. I have a question before. I know we're creeping up here on the hour mark. How did you get Ben as a client?
Well, he came with the initial group.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Oh,
okay. Sorry, I missed that.
Yes.
Very nice. And then same question, but with I'm sorry, I don't remember her name, the actress's name, but Gia from GXK.
Oh,
Tom Luck.
Really?
Tom Luck, he does.
That's so great. I would love to see her. Please let her know that everybody at G Fest would love to meet her. Like,
she wanted to come. It's just from one side or the other or something. It's just not worked yet.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Well, yeah, she's. Sorry, go ahead, Eric.
No, I was just saying, but knowing that it's in the works and trying, that's a good thought to have, though.
Yes. No, I think she's super sweet, and she seems like she has a great potential in Hollywood. I loved her in GVK and GXK. So yeah.
Story with Kaylee.
Yeah.
Pure and simple. I was booking Takarada into a convention in Germany, and Facebook friends with the owner. COVID hits, so much for that. But I stayed friends with the owner, and we talk. And he seems to have a really good inside track to the Marchverse, because he knows a lot of stuff. He knows stuff before. I mean, I try not to know anything, but he knows stuff. And he'll come to me and say, "So what do you know?" I'm like, "You know more than I do. Don't look at me." Her dad and I have an understanding. He tells me nothing, and I have plausible deniability. But anyway, he was doing an online interview with her for the first movie, and he wrote on Facebook, "Hey, I'm doing an online interview with Kaylee Huddle. Any questions you guys want me to ask her?" And I just threw out as a joke, "Ask her if she needs a convention agent." And like 45 minutes later, I was talking to her mother.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. Good for you, though. That's awesome. That's really great. I'm happy for you that you continue to get clients and exposure. I really am, Tim. I think you're a good guy. You've always been nice to me, even when I was a kid going to G Fest 25 years ago. You were always nice to me. So I do. I'm happy for your success. I really am. I mean that.
Thank you.
Did you just expose his age?
I always tell everybody the best part of my job is helping people meet their heroes.
And that's something you succeed at, for sure. For sure.
And the best best thing on top of that is the couple of times I've taken Freya to the hometown of James Dean, since he's a James Dean fanatic.
Yep.
And I said, I always say it's one thing to help people meet their heroes. It's another thing to help your hero meet his hero.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. For real.
Yeah. The first time we went, he said that night, "I can now die happy."
Wow, that's pretty powerful.
Hopefully not for a very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, he likes Indianapolis conventions because we're like an hour and a half.
Mm.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah. Hey, how about Alan Henry? He's a friend of the show, friend of ours. We love Alan. He's a riot.
How can you not love Alan?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We interviewed Alan last year and hit it off, became friends, and then he obviously came to G-Fest last year, and I threw it out to him like, hey, like, you're gonna be close, like, come on over for a beer. He messaged back, he's like, we're an hour south. We went there and hung out with him where he was staying. Like, he's just such a nice guy. Like, he's
a cool guy,
super sweet. And his Eric, what is it? Is it his music teacher or some type of teacher that he had when he was a kid? Lives literally like 45 minutes south of me, and on a big farm. And so it was funny. But yeah, he's a super sweet guy. We love Alan.
Yeah. He's amazing. Basically he and TJ are very, when we told Alan, it's like before he met TJ, and like, you two are going to get along perfectly. You're practically the same person. You're both just kids. You are fans, and you geek out like the rest of us.
Yep.
TJ's line, TJ was there. TJ's line just people would come up and show him a toy, and he'd think it was so cool that he'd get up from his table and run up and down the line and show everybody this toy. we need to move the line.
Yeah.
That's great.
Oh gosh. Well, yeah. So I'd say the last question I'll throw at you here is, with any clients that are out there looking for an agent to represent them for conventions and be represented by Japan's legends, what could you say to them that they would pick you over any other agency? Like, what is your kind of mission statement that you want to throw out to everybody that ever watches this and sees this?
I'll share the Kaylee story. Okay. I got Kaylee to Pensacon. It's in Florida. It's her first convention. He was really hot to have be the first convention she was at. So, like I said, they agreed to give me a shot. It was pretty much a one convention shot. When we arrived, her father says to me, "Yeah, we're probably not going to do this again with you."
Really?
We've done some research and we just don't think you're worth it. And I'm like, okay, well, let's have a good weekend. And so throughout the process of the weekend, they saw the knowledge of the genre, our rapport with the fans, how much we went out of our way to take care of the fans, take care of them. If Kaylee looked tired, does she need a break? And by the end of the weekend, they went, you know what? We now understand what you do. We'll keep doing it with you. And, when we were at the convention in Canada and he gave all these awards and stuff, we got awards, and he was like, and Ketsy, your mom, says to me, "It's nice to see when good people get good things." So I'm not one of those agents who ever cares about me. I always tell everybody I have a wife and 2 daughters. They took my ego off life support a long time ago and let it die. So they're the important ones. I always say when I get a lanyard and it says guest, I always say it really should say guest adjacent. Because I'm not the important one. They're the important ones.
Yeah.
And there will never be any question about who's the important one when you're dealing with me.
Yeah.
Now, I told Alan, he wanted something, and I said, okay, I can make that happen. He's like, well, I said, and he was like, well, you don't have to. And I'm like, that's what I'm here for. Whatever you need. He's like, don't do that. I can't take that much power.
That sounds like Alan.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that.
That's awesome. That was a perfect way to end it in a perfect statement. So, but yeah, we'll wrap this up here. We're about an hour. We want to be respectful of your time. Joe, before I do the closing, do you got any last closing comments you want to say?
Yeah. Obviously, I want to thank you, Tim. I meant it truthfully. That I'm so happy, and I truly believe you deserve the success that you've had. I like to judge people on how they treat me, and you've always been super respectful and kind. So that story that you just told about Kaylee and her family, I can attest to it because you were super nice to me when I was a kid, and I will always remember that, and I appreciate that. So yeah, truthfully, your success is much deserved, my friend.
Thank you.
But tomorrow for the channel, all of our friendly listeners with attitude, we will be sitting down with Dragon Ball Z voice actor Josh Martin, who voiced Majin Buu. That is tomorrow at 5 p.m. Central, if I am not mistaken, right, Eric? Yep. 5 p.m. Central, so make sure you guys check us out. Same bat time, well, kind of, and same bat channel. And Tim, thank you again. Eric, this was fun. Thank you for riding with us with me. It was a great time.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
Great.
Yeah, and just before we go, this is again Japan's Legends. They represent clients that bring Japanese, American, any kind of client that GFest kind of wants to that convention. So if you have any questions, or if any other conventions want their clientele to come to their convention, hit them up at Japan Legends on social media and get a hold of Tim. And again, he is representing Uchida, which is the little boy that played in Gamera 65, the original, and then Furuya, which was the original Ultraman suit actor. So that's going to be his two clientele people there. So go to G-Fest, check them out, get autographs, quickly talk to them. I've met Furuya several times. He's just a great guy. He is like living Elvis, honestly. Wherever he goes, he just has this presence, this appearance that he always just has. He's such a great guy. And then before we get out of here, Tim, is there any other conventions, any other places that they can catch you and your clients at coming up later this year?
At this stage, it's just Tokyo X and G Fest.
Okay.
I've got some other kind of in the works, but it's way too early to until contracts are signed. Okay.
So we actually talked about Tokyo X before we went live. Do you want to tell everybody the information on that?
This weekend, Freya is going to be at Tokyo X in Houston, Texas. It's a giant Japanese cultural festival. And they have some Power Ranger guests. They have voice actors. They have all sorts of things. It sounds like a jam-packed weekend of stuff. And anybody who's in the Houston area, come on out and see us.
Absolutely. So yeah, that'll do it for us. Tim, thank you again for joining us and saying all this knowledge that you were gracious enough to instill upon us. Everybody, thank you again for another great show. It is our road to GFest 30 2025. So keep a lookout on all of our socials for any other content and interviews that we're going to be doing. This whole month, we're going to be rolling along with other content regarding GFest as we get closer to the convention. As you know, we will be going and we will be seeing Tim there with his guests there. So yeah, it was a great show. Thank you all for watching. And of course, until next time, everybody, embrace the attitude. Good night, y'all.